Inishnuwa, Philly's home for contemporary Irish plays, is opening their 21st season with a bold adaptation of The Playboy of the Western World by Nigerian playwright B.C. Adugan and Irish writing icon Roddy Doyle. This spin-off of a classic Irish story is set in modern Dublin as a Nigerian refugee arrives at a rundown pub with a wild tale he hopes will save his life. Major support for The Playboy of the Western World has been provided by the Pew Center for Arts and Heritage, with additional support from the Government of Irish Immigrant Support Program. Get tickets online at inishnuatheater.org. Thrive Flower is Philadelphia's first same-day cannabis delivery. They offer a wide range of products, so you can find something or multiple things that works best for your unique needs. Thrive Flower is selling third-party, lab-tested, real THC products, including flower, pre-rolls, vapes, and gummies. Head to thriveflower.com and use the code CityCastPhilly10 for 10% off your orders. Today on CityCast Philly, I may not know everything about beer, but I know enough to say that Philly's got a great beer scene. Whether I'm enjoying what's on tap at Yards, an IPA at Chicky and Pete's, or learning about new brews at Two Locals, there's always new beer and experiences to try. I'm here with an expert to teach me everything I need to know about local brews and how to navigate the upcoming Philly Beer Fest. It's Wednesday, September 18th. I'm Trinina Marie, and here's what Philly's talking about. Richie Tevlin, you're the host of Brewed At Podcast, where you talk about and with the movers and the shakers in our region's beer industry. Welcome to CityCast Philly.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yes. And you're also a brewer yourself, owner of Space Cadet Brewing Company and a former head brewer at Victory Brewing Company. What would you say makes Philly's brewery scene so special?
So Philly is considered nationally one of the best brewing cities in the country. Part of that is, at the start of the craft beer boom 20, 25 years ago, there was a lot of great beer bars here. So there's incredibly hard to get beers that are very easy to find in Philadelphia. So for many years, there was a lot of great beer in the city that was coming in from all over the country. And recently, in the last 5 years, there was also a lot of large regional breweries in the area, like Victory, Trogs, Yards, some of these larger brands that kind of help build the craft beer, whole industry.
Mm-hmm.
And more recently, there's a lot of very small niche brands like Human Robot, Forest and Main, Carbon Copy that are kind of coming up and being these neighborhood spots, making super really, kind of world-class beer. So it's an exciting place to be. There's a lot of competition, but, you don't think about it like that. It's just a lot of great beer in the area, and it's exciting to be part of the scene.
Nice. So the upcoming Philly Beer Festival is happening on September 28th. It's at 12 to 9 p.m. at the 23rd Street Armory in Center City. There's going to be beer tasting, food, music, all centered around the best beers in the Commonwealth. Have you been to this event before?
I've not. I've been to other events similar to that at the Armory, though, and they're all great. They've had other beer fest there, I think, with other companies, and every single time. It's a lot of fun.
Okay. So, what's the first thing I need to focus on if this is my first time? Because it could be, overwhelming. It's just so much to choose from.
You just have to keep an open mind. It can be overwhelming, besides the fact that there's just so much going on. There's a lot of alcohol there, so you don't want to just rush into the first one and, then you're kind of destroyed, your palate or, drank too much from the beginning. So just keep an open mind and try to taste as much as you can.
Got you. Okay, so I don't know a lot about beer, but I know you know a lot. One thing I do know is that I do like IPAs. Can you break that down for the basics in that?
Yeah, so an IPA is an India Pale Ale. It's a style of beer. So it's most people that talk about IPAs are just talking about super hoppy or dry hop beers. So, there's 4 main ingredients in beer. There's water, malt, yeast, and hops. And when beers are hop forward, Most of the time they're categorized as IPAs. There's when you get into the nitty gritty, there's a lot more things that like technically decide whether something's an IPA or not. But for the general public, hoppy beers, they would consider them IPAs.
Are there local Philly IPAs that I should try?
Basically everyone. IPA has been almost synonymous with the term craft beer now.
Mm-hmm.
So really, if you go into most breweries, they should be having a good IPA on.
Are there any signature Philly beer styles?
So the first lager that was ever brewed in the United States was brewed in Philadelphia. It was brewed at Ortlieb's Brewery, which is, if you're familiar, there's a bar in Northern Liberty called Ortlieb's. It was right there. So that brewery has since gone out of business, but it was the first lager brewery or lager brewed in the United States. But no, I wouldn't consider they're a Philly specific style.
Got you. All right, let's talk more about this beer terminology. You use the word hops. Break that down a little bit for those of us that don't know. What is hops?
So a hop is a type of plant. It grows on a vine. It's actually related to the marijuana plants, in the same plant family.
Oh.
But it's super flavorful, like almost resinous cone that has this oil in it, lupulin, that then has a lot of the flavonoids in it that help to flavor beer how you expect beers to be flavored. So like we talked about IPAs before. IPAs, there's a wide range of ways IPAs can taste, like certain fruits, piney, resinous, even minty and coffee flavors. All of those can come from hops. And they've been grown for, thousands of years all across the world. And it's really, it's one of the four main ingredients in beer. You have to have hops to be considered beer.
Gotcha. Now, what hoppy Philly beer do you love?
Brotherly Love, I have to put that out. So I used to work at Victory. I was part of the team that, put together Brotherly Love. And, you talk about balance and drinkability. That has both of them right there.
Okay. What is the term ABV mean? What does that mean?
Alcohol by volume. So you're looking at, if you break the drink down, how much of it is pure alcohol versus the rest of it, I guess. So like a 4.2% beer, which would be most beers like macro lagers, Bud Light, Miller Lite, 4.2%. 4.2% by volume of that is alcohol. Where if you go over to Europe, if you're looking at alcohol percentages, it's alcohol by weight. It's ABW over there, so it's going to be slightly off.
Okay, so higher the number, that means that there's more alcohol.
Higher the number, more alcohol.
Got you. Any local beers that have those high numbers?
Yeah, I keep talking about Victory, but Victory's makes Golden Monkey and Sour Monkey. There's two of the most respected, well-renowned beers in the area. Sour Monkey, I know a couple of years ago, was the most sold sour beer in the whole world. And Golden Monkey is probably one of the most sought after triples. It's probably like the standard beer for like the Belgian triple, and at least brewed in the United States. But that's 9.5% alcohol.
Now, what does it mean if I hear someone say like this beer has head to it? What does that mean?
So you're talking about the foam. So when you pour beer in a glass or off the tap, the proteins in the beer break down, and the proteins in the acids then form a bubble structure. So unlike things like soda that doesn't have any proteins in it, or, seltzer water, when those bubbles come out, they just pop. Where in beer, when those bubbles are formed, the outer linings, the bubbles, have proteins, so they're a little more stable. And then they'll create a head, which is the foam that's just on top of the beer when you pour it.
Wow, a lot of science behind this.
It's not just having fun. There's some intelligence behind beer.
Yeah. Any local Philly beers that have that foam?
Yeah, there's been a big push in craft beer towards foam, I guess. So Human Robot has done a great job where they've, kind of coined this term milk pours, where they have these special taps that pour beer, I guess, more violently, or there's more surface area when they pour the beer. So they're able to pour basically straight foam out of a tap, where it's this super milky foam. hence a milk pour. And it's, kind of borderless the line between liquid and foam. But, they kind of coined that term, but a lot of people in the area are doing kind of a similar thing where they have these specialty taps that are pouring it off.
More on navigating Philly's beer scene after the break.
What's up, guys? It's the champ, Sean O'Malley, here to talk to you about Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best place to win real money while watching football. Run your game on Prize Picks.
Prize Picks will give you $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Just download the Prize Picks app and use code SPOTIFY. That's code SPOTIFY on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play a $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Run your game. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
So what's it like to buy your first cryptocurrency on Kraken? Well, let's say I'm at a food truck I've never tried before. Am I gonna go all in on the loaded taco? No, sir. I'm keeping it simple, starting small. That's trading on Kraken. Pick from over 190 assets and start with the $10 in your pocket. Easy. Go to kraken.com and see what crypto can be. Not investment advice. Crypto trading involves risk of loss. Cryptocurrency services are provided to U.S. and U.S. territory customers by Payward Interactive Inc., PWI, DBA Kraken. View PWI's disclosures at kraken.com/legal/disclosures.
Okay, Richie, at this beer festival or at other beer festivals, there are tastings that happen. Is there, like you mentioned at the beginning, don't go too far into that first one that you might have, but is there any other etiquette that I should know before going to one of these festivals? Like, should I swish the beer around in the glass or sniff it like it's wine? Or should I cleanse my palate with some water between the different brews? Like, break it down for me.
I mean, definitely want to go there with a strong base. So make sure you eat a lot before you go there. Drink a lot of water. Make sure you're healthy. You're ready to go. It's going to be a long day. So the way that I like to go about drinking beers like that, where you're trying a lot of beer over the course of a day, is kind of the same way that you would think about cuisine. Like, you wouldn't want to start off with something that's going to destroy your palate. So start off with lighter, more easy drinking beers that have less extreme flavors. And, make sure you rinse out your glass of water in between, take a little sip of water, maybe a saltine cracker to rinse that palate off. And then, really just go up. I would start lighter, lower ABV stuff, and then move up throughout the day into maybe something a little bit more hoppy, something with a little bit more malt character. And then at the end of the day, go for the sour beers and the stouts, something that's like some really extreme beers that are really going to kind of wreck your taste buds in a good way. It's like,
Yeah.
it's overwhelming. So some of these beers, there's just so much flavor. It's a lot.
What are some qualities that you look for in determining if a beer is good or not?
The main thing is balance and drinkability, because beer is all about balance. So with the hops, you're getting some bitterness. With the malt, you're getting some sweetness. There's acidity in beer, so that's sourness. And you really want to balance those. So same thing with like a good meal. There's certain beers that, just like certain foods that accentuate some of those properties. But really, even if beers accentuate, like whether they're hoppier, more bitter, more sweet, you need some balance on the other things to hold the beer together. So balance is the main thing. And then personally, I go for drinkability. So I would categorize this drinkability as the ability to drink a large amount of it. A lot of beers, I enjoy sipping some like stronger, heavier stouts, some bigger IPAs, maybe some, super sour, fruited sours. But really, that's where I am personally. Like, I would really like, the drinkability, the casualness of, hanging out, drinking some beers.
When I think of beer too, I think of sports. I think of watching the Eagles. I think of, meeting friends at the bar. And you just mentioned food too. So like, what's the best food to eat when drinking beer?
Well, you have to think about beer in the same sense of wine. Like, you want to say, what's the best wine to drink when eating food? So there's different beers paired with different types of food. So for the most part, I'll give you some examples. Like an IPA pairs very well with, burgers or spicy food. So if you're eating Thai food, an IPA might go well. An IPA or like a pale lager. If you're eating cheese or, jams or something, fruit, something super sweet, something like a stout or a sour beer to go well with that. Like a sour beer would almost be like synonymous to those flavors. And some like funky Belgian beers be synonymous. And then a stout would be like, antagonist. So you want to drink beers that either have the same flavors or the same flavor characteristics or something opposite.
If I go to a place like Rye in Brewery Town, which sells a bunch of local beers, and I was creating a 6-pack of Philly's best brews, what would be in there?
I mean, if I had to pick 6 beers, I guess, that I would want to have in the city, I mean, like 6 of my favorite breweries in the city. I keep going back to them, but Carbon Copy makes incredible beer. Human Robot, Forest and Maine. Then just across the rivers in New Jersey, they have Tonewood. I mean, I have to go Victory. I mean, I know I used to work there, but I just love everything Victory makes.
And then one more.
I mean, if you're at Rye, might as well go with the Crime and Punishment beer. They're right there. They're like diagonally across the street. So keep it local. Try some Crime and Punishment.
Okay.
And a Space Cadet beer. Don't forget, drink your Space Cadet beers.
Okay, so you get that extra one. What is it? I mean, you'd mentioned just how Philly's beer scene is nationally renowned at this point. I mean, what keeps you engaged? What keeps you excited about Philly's beer scene, beer culture?
I mean, like I said, there's always something new. It's always high quality. It's nice. I mean, you feel like you're kind of like in an epicenter almost. It feels like you're help building the culture and, being a part of something special. So it's just, feels good to be a part of something that makes other people happy, I guess.
Yeah, and you're an innovator.
Exactly. It feels good to, kind of, craft something, make something with your hands that other people can sit down at the end of the day. And, that's the highlight of their day is enjoying something that you put together.
I like that. Is there anything, though, that the city's beer culture could do differently or just get better at?
I mean, I think it's always a work in progress. I think that the city and the beer scene is doing a great job as far as moving towards kind of hyper-local, neighborhood-focused beers. I think it'd be cool to kind of bring some brands together, maybe some collaborations or whatnot, put together some more events, maybe some collaborations with restaurants and things like that, kind of stretch out beyond the craft beer scene, sort of, and other industries that aren't just craft beer specific and share parts of their craftsmanship as well.
Great. That was Richie Tevlin, the host of Brewed At Podcast and owner of Space Cadet Brewing Company. Richie, thank you so much for breaking the beer scene down with me today.
Yep. Thank you for having me.
Check out Richie's podcast, Brewed At, and keep an eye on his socials for updates on when you can get some Space Cadet Brewing Company beer. We'll have those links in our show notes. That's all for today here on CityCast Philly. If you love this episode, tell a friend who also loves to drink locally crafted beer from Philly. Rate the show, leave us a review, and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to sign up for our morning newsletter, Hey Philly, to learn more about what else Philly's talking about. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Bye.